Hey guys, Pat here, and welcome back to the channel. Sorry I've been MIA for a minute. I've been really busy. We had the amp build workshop, which was awesome. Everyone left with the working 5E3, so much fun. Been trying to catch up on all these repairs and haven't been able to make any videos, but hey, that happens. So we're back today with two vintage Fisher hi-fi units. I have here a tuner, the 100B, and then here is the X101-B integrated amp. So what is an integrated amp? Well, in the hi-fi world, if you have an integrated amp, it has a power amp and preamp in one. So this unit has a phono amp, input for a tuner, a tape unit, so it's switchable with a preamp, and it has your power amp. If it's not integrated, you'd have a separate preamp and power amp, or power amps for right and left. So these units have been in storage for a very long time. And one thing that happens with vintage electronics, any vintage electronics or any new electronics, when something is sitting, capacitors go bad, they don't like to sit. That's the wind agreeing with me, if you hear that. Capacitors don't like to sit, they dry out, like a car that's just sitting. So both these units have a bad hum. I did fire them up to check the transformers and just check everything out. They play, but they hum. It's not surprising. So today we're going to start doing a recap of the electrolytic capacitors on both units. Fisher made really high quality stuff. I love working on Fisher stuff. And it was made right here in New York City. So for me, that's even a little bit cooler. And I love bringing back to life anything that's been found and like sitting in a closet. In this case, it was in a family. So anytime I can restore a piece of vintage audio gear that's been in one family for a long time, bring it back to life is a good day. So anyway, I'm glad to be back, and let's get started on these two Fisher units.
Let's take the knobs off and remove this beautiful gold faceplate. And we're going to clean the sockets, the tube pins, the switches, the pots. This amplifier is a 61. It is a steel faceplate that is brass plated. The following year they transitioned to the champagne look. Beautiful champagne colored aluminum faceplate. Here is a photo of a young Avery Fisher. He started the company. He had an interesting life. He studied biology in school and then became a book designer, but his love of music kept him experimenting with audio circuits, and in 1937, he started an audio company, paused for the war, and then after World War II, Fisher was born.
So for the switches, we're going to use the Oxid D5, the red label, but for the pots, we want to use the green label, the Fader F5.
When you're using any cleaner, try not to get it everywhere. I'm trying to use just a little bit, and I'm actually letting it fall right to the floor. Hey, this is a shop. It's not Pinterest. So I cleaned the faceplate with a little soap and water, polished it with a little deoxit. We also had to remove some goo. I used some goo gun here. There was a piece of tape that was actually holding that jewel on. So I cleaned that up and re-glued the jewel. Now it's going to look the way it should. Okay, we're going to change this out. I always like to use a little bit of silicone right on the bottom, right here. See, just a little bit. You can't even see it, not too much. So to install these new can capacitors, we're going to fire up our big vintage iron. Ran into a little snafu here. So right off the rectifier, we have two 7-watt resistors, 125 ohm resistors in parallel, and the lead just broke off. Now, I could make a jumper, but honestly, that's pretty sketchy. In stock, I actually have these nice ohmites, but these are 5 watts, and we need 7. This happens a lot. I'm just going to eat the shipping and order the right thing. That's best practice. So we'll go to Mauser, see what they have in stock, order the right thing. But why are there two resistors in parallel? So the two resistors we're talking about are these right here. resistors in parallel divide. The resistance divides. So two 125 ohms divide to 62.5. If they were two 500 ohms, they would divide to 250 ohms. However, the power rating, the wattage, actually adds. So two 7-watt resistors add to 14 watts. So essentially, across these two nodes is a 62 ohms at 14 watts. So I just ordered two 125 ohms at 10 watts. You don't want to change the value of the resistance, but you can go up in wattage, but never down. So essentially now we will have 62 ohms at 20 watts. Now let's start in on the tuner. Classy.
Q104.3, New York's classic rock.
Hey, when ZZ Top Just Got Paid comes on FM radio, what?
Let's go.
Okay, we replaced the can and gave it a cleaning, and this tuner is working fantastic. Our electrolytic capacitors have been replaced on both units. I've done a cleaning and alignment on both units, and everything's working great. What can I say? Any tips or tricks? Power tubes. So these have 7591 power tubes. I bias them slightly colder than factory spec. These are the original tubes, and we want to keep these going for many reasons. One, newer 7591s are not as good as the old ones. Let's just put it that way. And the older ones actually draw less heater filament current, which will run the thing cooler, the power transformer cooler. So we really want to preserve the original tubes, so I'm running it slightly colder to preserve them. And I do that, if it were new tubes, I would bias it a little colder too. We've done the phase inverter balance, the AC balance on both sides, so that we have a symmetrical waveform. There's no noise, there's no hum. Both units are working great. Great. All right, next time.